going to touch on briefly some of the themes that are live and moving now that I can see from where I'm sat. The invitation to be with this transmission, for it is a transmission, not just informational, is to activate the inner listener. My suggestion would be to keep the attention returning to the sensation of breath in the body, the sensation in the body as the whole, and in this way to keep the attention where we can physically register how we feel, how you feel when you're listening and receiving this transmission. So, So speaking as myself, Lucy Hunter, what's become apparent to me in this moment we're in is it's like the inhale before the exhale, the in-breath before the out-breath, the pause at the end of the in-breath, before we take ourselves into the world and into action, into motion, into energized action, into dynamic, directional, and focused action. Action with an aim, a purpose. Action that's feeling the joy of movement, of motion, of liberation. There is this culmination of a long time spent being in almost an action, feeling almost as though it's in a constricted place. Not almost for some people, but in a constricted place, because it's been that part of us that would be active and moving and joyful and free has been called to be home and still and contained and constricted. And in that experience, there's been the gift and the wounding. There's been the gift of being called home into integrity, into alignment, into stillness. And in that alchemy, the moments where we are docked to that stillness and that silence, that part of us that would be active, we can release ourselves from immeasurable patterns, action patterns from our past, ways of acting and moving in the world that we're done with, that no longer serve us, that would hurt us, that do not elevate us and do not elevate our creating. So the gift in having that active part of us called home is in that it's been able to release. There's been the opportunity to release ourselves from the old patterns, the old ways of being in the world, of doing this. The wounding has been touching in that experience of being constricted. We've been able to touch on the pain and the frustration, the castration, the thwarting of our creative impulse, and all our stored memories of this. The memories stored within us of every time our actions have been creative, joyful acting has been thwarted. And the intensity of the emotional vibrations stored within us from the memory of this have had some space to vibrate their way out of our fields and out of our realities, so that those emotional vibrations aren't part of the song of ourselves and part of how we're creating. So we've been able to clear and lift the vibration we are, the song we are, in the picture of all of everything in its dance of creating. And we're here at this juncture again for where it just feels like, and right in alignment with the rhythm of the seasons, here comes spring, but here comes us, ready to go into motion again, ready to move, ready to act, focus, direct, follow our joy, follow our excitement, and bring in a new, not only new ways of being, of creating in the world, not only new ways of being in the world, new ways of doing what we do, new ways of how we do what we do in the world, but new creations entirely, utterly new creations. And this doesn't mean that all of us have rewritten every aspect of our lives or that that's what we were supposed to be doing. Just that there was a window of possibility for opening new channels and new pathways, so that there are areas of our lives where, when this energy of spring fountains up within us and brings us out into the world ready to be more dynamic, there are pathways for that springtime energy to flow through us and out into our creations that have lifted us beyond our old ways of creating, our old ways of being in the world. And with this awareness, there can be a kind of, there's always a possibility of panicking. I don't know what this is. What does that mean? What should I be doing? Gosh, what have I done? What have I not done? How do I know what this means? And how do I know how to be with that? And how to identify all that? So there's a real encouragement to let go of that. If that is something that, features for you, then to let go of that panicking of knowing. And the special gift of the moment, of this now moment, this now year, and in the springtime of this now year, is to take this opportunity in this breath and this pause before movement, before motion happens, before that energy takes us and we go with it. To take this opportunity to re-alchemize how we're creating, how we go out into the world. To have one last moment here, to close the eyes that look out into the creation and panic about what is needed, where is it lacking, what must I do? Think about that and tell the body and the heart, right, this is how we're going to go into motion. Body and heart, the mind is going to tell you what to do. To let go of that alchemy of lack and of need-based creating, and to interrupt the flow of looking outwards and turn those eyes inwards, away from the creation we can see outside of us, because we're about to lift that creation and how we're creating. To turn those eyes inwards and face that spaciousness in us beyond all the stories of everything we've ever done and everything we've ever known, of everyone we've ever been, and touch the vastness, the spaciousness beyond those stories. And in that spaciousness, touch an imagination beyond anything the mind can understand. The imagination of awareness itself. Awareness imagining itself into being. In us, through us, as us, and with us. And this means we won't know what we're imagining. We won't know what we're supposed to be doing, but we're going to touch that place of spaciousness beyond even our conscious imagining. To use the words of a beloved friend, the imagination that can imagine itself. And allow that spring energy to take us when it does, and know that something of that unnameable, immeasurable space will be flowing in with our new creating this spring.